So I was just thinking that you know I have all these problems, and I think that one of my biggest problems throughout life, getting older, has been constantly entertaining people and trying to impress people, and being obsessed with myself. And I think that a lot of that has to do with my godlike tendencies, my perfectionism, my eating disorder, um, trying to be perfect, for everyone. And I'm beginning to think that these videos are very unhealthy for me, because they're like a trigger for me. Hold on. Yeah, so they're like a trigger for me, because I'm trying to entertain. Sometimes by telling stories, and not so much to entertain, to be significant, but I have a real problem with entertaining people, because when I was growing up, my mom always wanted me to make her happy. And sometimes because my father abandoned us when I was 3 years old, and we had no money, and at one point we had to live in a shed, and only had we couldn't even afford a bed for me, so I had to sleep with my mom for 2 or 3 years, when I was like 6, 7, 8 years old. So we didn't, so there was no father, and he abandoned us, and we had no money. We were very, very poor. It was very hard to be accepted in the community as a poor person, and it was very hard for my mom to get a nice person to marry her or date, because she was a very poor woman with 2 children. One of them, me, being mentally disabled, and being homicidal and trying to kill other children at the time. And my mom wasn't really a catch. So she was very lonely. And she also had all this trauma from being raised by an abusive father and a bipolar mother. My mother's mother was bipolar, so my grandmother was bipolar. So my mom had all these issues. And she was lonely, and she was raising these 2 children. And it was very hard. And she was worried about me, because I was very, so depressed that I was suicidal, and I was trying to kill other children, and she probably saw the signs of me being not right in the brain, But I was funny. And whenever she wanted to laugh, she'd be like, "Joe, I have to go shopping, and I'm not happy. Can you come with me and make me laugh?" And that happened when I was, 7 years old. So, so when that becomes your identity at such a young age, or when that becomes what you do for other people at such a young age, it kind of sticks with you for the rest of your life. So even when I'm filming these videos, I'm trying not to be obsessed with myself when I'm doing them. I'm trying to jump outside of myself and only help you, and not entertain you, and just help you without becoming self-obsessed with myself, regardless of how funny I am or how I'm such a good entertainer, but that's not really for these videos. Those are for my other videos, for my other YouTube channel. But I can't really tell you who that person is. I've created such an illusion, that person, that if you did figure out who I really was and you watched my other YouTube channel of all my videos, you'd be like, there's no way, man. There's no way that person's that person. But that's how good I am at turning into one person from the next person, from the next person. I could just switch it on and off. I could control which person I want to be. So I was going to stop making these videos because I felt like that they were very unhealthy for me and they were a trigger, and it was just about me being self-obsessed. So then I thought, like, is there a way for me to make these videos to be informative, vulnerable, meaningful, that are informative? So it's really about, talking about mental illness and making the videos helpful without me becoming self-obsessed in the process, or without these videos becoming a trigger, because the trigger really is that self-obsession and the narcissism and the godlike tendencies and the homicidal, psychological, psychopathic thinking. Just me covering myself up with towels and a Viking hat. They're not towels, they're gym shorts. But gym shorts and a Viking hat, just that alone makes me dissolve the person that I created, I guess you could say. It makes me become the shadow, I guess you could say, the shadow of the self. That's why they say, when there's rebellions in the street, or when there's riots and things like that, people could do things that they normally couldn't because their identity was covered. Felt like nobody could see their face, so their true shadow self appeared, and they could do horrific, terrible things: beat people, steal, kill people, that kind of thing. Because their image, it was gone. And for me, when I do these videos, my image is gone. And so it's a trigger for the homicidal me, or the shadow me, the Carl Jung shadow. Carl Jung used to talk about how if you accept the shadow inside yourself, you can become a much more loving person. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm such a much more loving person, because I embrace the shadow, and I embrace the more homicidal, or the fact that I could do that. And that makes me a more loving person when I'm not in the homicidal state, or the God complex, delusions of grandeur state, because I'm more empathetic, and I'm a good friend because I'm a good listener. But when I turn into the homicidal person, I talk about how I like to manipulate people, use them, and not use, but I just see them as a species or something. But when I'm not that person, when I'm not in a homicidal state, I don't think like that. I'm more, I like being around people. I like connecting with them and talking with them. I don't see them as something for me to study at all. So maybe I'll continue doing these videos. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to think about it. Right now I'm on a THC and CBD pill. So I've been pretty high for the past 4 or 5 hours because it's raining outside and I can't really do anything. So I decided to get high all day and just go into myself and figure things out. Because I've been noticing more and more that there's something wrong with these videos. They're doing something to me. Constantly checking up on them, seeing if people are viewing them, and because I'm beginning to become so obsessed with having people watch these videos, and the book that I put on Amazon selling, because I really want to just like do something about all this stuff, man. I don't know. I can't just not do something about it. You know, I feel like it's my true meaning in life is to actually help heal the mentally ill community. I mean, why else am I here? I'm educated. I have discipline and work ethic and OCD. I go through severe suicidal tendencies, homicidal tendencies. I have the capability of just killing an entire airport full of people. I'm one of the few people that is, I'm not angry and bitter at the world. Sometimes I just have a tendency to kill as many people as possible, which is very rare. And I like to figure people out. And I like to be calm and collective and study. And that's very serial killer-esque. I think some of the best serial killers in the world have been people that were very calculated. You know, we don't really need anger, we're just calm. We like to study and work and study. We like to figure things out and figure people out. It's scary. But I would really like to do something about this. You know, stop mental illness and abuse and trauma especially. I don't think there's any reason for that to exist in this world. So I think this will be my last video. I think I've said enough in 19 videos to sum it up. If I film another one, that's great. That means I made a choice to come back. If I decide not to, the ebook I put out on Amazon, it's 84 pages long. You know, I'm not big into money and I don't really care about selling it or not. I don't know, I think it's really cool. I just think it would be really entertaining for a lot of people to read, and a lot of very eye-opening for people to read, especially with people like us. Because you would read it and you'd be like, yeah, I mean, I wrote it. And even sometimes when I read it, it makes me cry, or it just brings up triggers because it's pretty deadly accurate, and not how we just feel, but how the rest of society views us. I wrote this one chapter in it called Cockroaches, and how we're pretty much just viewed as cockroaches. And we're everywhere. We're homeless. We're targeted by the police. We have all these issues. Most states don't even have much funding for the mentally ill. Mental institutions, they don't really do anything. They just bring you in there, fix you up, put you on a bunch of meds, 2-3 days tops, and then they ship you back out. It's very rare that they actually spend time with you, or have enough people on staff, like therapists and group counseling, to actually help an individual out. There are some mental institutions that are terrific, like St. John's in Springfield, Missouri. Spent 22 days in that mental institution. It was the best one I've ever been to. St. John's in Springfield, Missouri. Terrific. But yeah, so, yeah, I don't know. So, and if people start buying the book, I started writing a second book, but I'm really tired of writing, man. It took me three and a half years to write the last one. And the only reason why I published it when I did is because of the coronavirus. Like, I realized that so many people were probably committing suicide right now that I needed to just put it on Amazon. It wasn't even really edited yet. I mean, I read through it 3 times, 4 or 5 times. And I put it on Grammarly 2 or 3 times. And I wasn't even going to publish it on Amazon. I wasn't even going to put it on an ebook yet. Because I don't care about fame. I don't care about making money. And then one morning I woke up and I was like, people are probably committing suicide right now, man. People are probably so depressed right now because they just sit inside all day, and more people are drinking. The mentally ill people are probably staying inside more, and they're having those ruminating thoughts. So you gotta put the book on Amazon. You just gotta put it out, man. So I messaged my sister first thing that morning, and I was just like, like, sis, I know this is gonna sound crazy, because I've been working on this book for like 3.5 years, and I've been like, I shouldn't put it out yet, but I'm like, I feel like I gotta put it out. I walked outside this morning, and I looked at the stars, and I looked at a tree across from my house, and something just told me, like this intuition, like, you need to put this book on Amazon tonight. Like, you need to start making moves, because people are like suffering more now than they ever have. People are probably more lonely now than they've ever been. People are probably more depressed and suicidal now than they've ever been, and probably more people have committed suicide in the last 4 months than they ever have. But we don't really know the stats. I don't think they're releasing how many people are committing suicide right now. For me, suicide's never really been that big of an issue. For me, it's been the homicide. Out of the 9 times I've been to mental institutions, I think about 5 or 6 of them were from me wanting to kill, like, mass groups of people, or wanting me to kill people. It had nothing to do with suicide. It had to do with me wanting to kill a lot of people. But I also suffer from extreme suicidal depression. It goes along with being a homicidal maniac. So yeah, I guess, I'll try to keep making the videos, if I feel like they're healthy for me to make, but I want to know that I'm like definitely there for you for sure. That's one of the reasons why I put the book out on Amazon. It's like 84 pages. It's like 84 eBay. Sorry, it's like 24. It's like 84 ebook pages. 84 ebook pages, and it was like 51 or 54 Word document pages. 54 Word doc pages. Or Google Doc pages. It was like 54 Google Doc pages. So it's not a very long book at all. It's just journal entries of being suicidal, homicidal, how society views us, having severe anxiety, all these different issues that we deal with, being borderline personality disorder, being bipolar, having multiple personality disorders, being schizoaffective, coming from severe poverty, all these things, being raised in a house, an abusive home, having to be perfect, having eating disorder, sleeping disorder. I mean, it pretty much covers, everything that I've covered in the last 19 videos, but like more than that, because it was like 3.5 years of writing, a lot of writing, and a lot of editing. When I was when I was originally finished with the book, it wasn't 54 pages. It was 270 something pages. I cut 220 pages out. Like I said, I've been working on it for 3.5 years. It was originally like 272 pages. 272. And I took out some of the really crazy ass shit. Like stuff about me wanting to gun down an entire airport. I had to go to the mental institution for that. And I was in the airport when I wanted to do it. Me thinking I was Jesus Christ. And then another time me wanting to kill Jesus Christ. I mean, just like another time me thinking I was like Hitler. I mean, just like crazy ass shit, man. Like just beyond delusional shit. And I got really graphic, and I wrote about this stuff in detail. And then at the last second, I said, if you put that in the book about wanting to kill Jesus and being Jesus and thinking you were Hitler and having a relationship with Holocaust victims and seeing them outside your door, that kind of stuff, people are going to come after your family and kill your family, for sure. And people are going to find out where you live and they're going to kill you too. So edit that shit out. So anyway, so maybe I'll keep making these videos. If I do, that's cool. But if you want to buy the book, it would definitely not help you. It would really help your family and your parents if they're cool enough and they love you enough to read what you're going through. Because I know a lot of parents out there, they don't give a fuck about you. Hence the reason why you're in this situation in the first place. And a lot of your friends, they're not even real friends. Maybe you don't even have any real friends. Maybe alcohol and drugs are your only friends. That was the way it was in my life for a very, very long time. But yeah, 84 ebook pages. It's $3. Read it, man. I don't know. You got nothing else to do with your fucking time. It's coronavirus and shit. And I don't know. These videos have been bringing me down, man. I've been all fucked up in the last like 10 days ever since I started making these videos. They're highly disturbing. For me, at least. I can't even watch them. I don't even fucking watch these videos. But, yeah, the name of the ebook is, Joe, yeah, just type in Joe Winterow ebook, and I think it's called the, what's the name of the book? I'm Feeling the Darkness of Suicidal Depression? Yeah, I think that's the name of it. I don't even know. It shows you how much I don't know, man. I'm just so confused. Honestly, man, it's amazing the fact that I'm even, I don't know, man. I just don't know. But anyways, I feel you, man. I know what you're going through, dude. Fuck. Shit can't get any harder. It really can't. It seems like nothing ever works, man. Change a routine. That routine doesn't work, but you can get another routine. That fucking routine doesn't work, and try to do this. Fucking people are hard on us. Fucking we beat up on ourselves because people are hard on us, and we're even harder on ourselves. And we try to be perfect just so we don't upset people, and it's just like, but then we're assholes because we get angry because we're trying to be perfect, and people are like, we're so hard on ourselves, we just snap and we yell and we get angry at people because we have to be perfect, and because we're so hard on ourselves. It's like, it's just a loop. It's like a loop. It's like a roller coaster that just doesn't end. There's no stop. That's why most of us want to kill ourselves, because it's like, is it ever gonna get better? Every time I think it's getting better, it goes back to being worse again. Every time I think it's getting better, it goes back to being worse again. And when it gets to get worse, I started to have these like nightmare depressive days. And I wake up in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock with trauma dreams because I feel so awful in the daytime. I can't get back to sleep. And I'm living off of like 4 or 5 hours of sleep the next day. And I'm exhausted. And I feel depressed, and I have anxiety, and I'm scared of things. Sometimes because I'm so sleep deprived. And I have another bad day. I try to get to bed that night, and I'm sleep deprived again because I woke up in the middle of the night at 1 or 2 in the morning because I was so depressed that day. Because I had trauma dreams or depressed dreams that woke me up because I was fucking depressed all day. And I've been depressed since I was 3 years old. I'm trying to fix it. And I don't know how. I thought writing a book about it would help. It didn't. I enjoyed the process of writing it for the past 3.5 years. But now it's out there. It's on Amazon. I don't think one person's bought it yet. And I don't feel like writing another book right now because I'm exhausted from writing the last book. And I'm doing these videos, but they're fucking me up. I don't know what to do, man. I honestly don't even know what makes me happy. They say the key to a happy life is to live a meaningful life, but I feel so limited in living a meaningful life because I can't get a girlfriend, can't get a wife, because they would leave me because I'm fucking crazy. I can't have a child because I would scare the shit out of it. I'd be severely traumatized. I had this one fucking really crazy ass nightmare. This was, I have this, totally in love with this girl. She lives across the street. And, she's one of my best friends. And you know, we've been very close for a very long time. And occasionally I get a glimpse of me, like, falling in love with her and being with her in the long term. But she wants to have children. And one day, I was like, you know, maybe I could have children. Maybe I could do it. Maybe I could actually have a kid. And that night, after I said that to myself, I went to bed that night. And I woke up at like 1:30 in the morning. And I was, and I had this dream before I woke up at like 1:30 in the morning. And I had a baby with a girl I was in love with. And she was about 7 or 8 years old, the baby. She was like a 7-year-old, 8-year-old. No, she was a girl. So she was like a 7-year-old girl. And she was sobbing. And she was so depressed. She was like suicidally depressed. And she was sobbing and she was crying. Kind of like the way I cry when I become the 3-year-old because I don't know how to heal that inner child, because I don't know what the hell happened to that kid. I was fucking 3. You know, they say to heal the trauma, you got to go back to that age and find out what happened. I don't have any memories from that age. I have one memory, and it was like right before I went into an absence seizure, because what I was seeing was too traumatic, and that was my first memory when I was 3. And I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how to fix that 3-year-old child. I don't know how to go back and be and talk to that inner child to fix the trauma, so I could heal. So when I get really suicidally depressed, I still become that 3-year-old. And I don't know how to get rid of that 3-year-old dude, no matter how much trauma work I do. I don't know. Sometimes things have happened to us at such an early age, we don't know how to fix them, because it was completely out of our control. We might be stuck as a 3-year-old for the rest of our life, especially if we have borderline personality disorder. So one day I convinced myself that like I could actually fall in love with this girl and have a baby with her. And that night I had a dream, and the girl that I was in love with was standing in the corner of the room, and she was like kind of upset that her daughter like wouldn't stop crying, and her daughter was like suicidally depressed, and her daughter was only 7 years old. And I was trying to tell her, like, it's gonna be okay, hon. It's gonna be okay. And no matter how loving I could be, she would never be okay. Even if I was smart enough not to cause her trauma, the nightmare was about how I passed on my genes to her, how she was bipolar, or how she could have even been borderline personality disorder. Even though I didn't cause her any trauma, she could still be born borderline chemically, even without me causing her trauma. But mostly it was about her being bipolar and her being depressed for like 5 months in a row, and me trying to console her and be like, it's okay, hon. And she was sobbing, and she was sobbing, and she was sobbing. The 7-year-old, my daughter, and I knew that like I couldn't save her, I couldn't do anything for her, because her brain chemistry